Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're doing great, my friends from around the world. If it's your first time here, we're honored to have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tel Aviv is burning. Haifa is nearly paralyzed. Israel's defense systems are working non-stop day and night, but they're still not strong enough to save the cities. Behind this attack, one name keeps echoing: Raysan, an Iranian ballistic missile that hit Israel's defense right in the heart. The Mossad bases weren't hit by chance. This wasn't a stray missile. It was a message. Iran wants the world to know it can strike directly and precisely. But how dangerous is the Raysan missile really? And the big question now, can Israel survive the next wave? Stay with us. We're diving deep into the weapon that forced even Mossad to move. And this isn't just about one missile hitting its target. This is a geopolitical shockwave, one that's shaking up the entire old power map of the Middle East. For the first time ever, Iran acted without using a proxy. They hit directly, right in Israel's heart. And this move shattered the regional scene like an earthquake splitting a hemisphere. The US immediately condemned the attack, but weirdly, their tone seemed defensive. Washington sounded shaky, like it wasn't sure how to hold on to its influence in a region growing more brutal by the day. US allies are starting to ask themselves, can we really rely on America anymore? Russia, on the other hand, didn't stay silent. They took a slippery, neutral, but active stance. While Moscow calls for de-escalation publicly, behind the scenes they're getting closer to Iran. For Russia, this isn't just a conflict. It's a golden opportunity to undercut US dominance and fill the power vacuum in the Middle East. China, even bolder. Beijing openly supported Iran's move, calling the strike a legitimate response. This wasn't just moral support, it was a loud, clear message to the world: power is shifting hands. Behind the scenes, China sees this as a strategic moment, not just in politics but in business too. The arms market, military influence, everything's wide open now for Beijing to step in. The world is watching all this like it's history being rewritten in real time. Missiles today aren't just weapons, they're a new language of diplomacy, loud, fast, and impossible to ignore. Behind every missile launched, there's always a story of power, fear, and a message being delivered. Raysan isn't just a flying hunk of metal, it's a symbol of Iran's determination to stand its ground, alone, against the world. Developed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's Space Division, this missile came from a clear ambition to build a strategic weapon without relying on anyone. Amid sanctions, pressure, and global isolation, Iran chose its own path. They built this war machine entirely from within. No imports, no handouts. By 2022, the name Raysan was finally revealed, taken from a Shiite concept of paradise. Ironically, this weapon often brings destruction, not peace. In Operation Troop Ramstri, Raysanga was fired directly from Iranian soil. No middlemen, no proxies. And that's what changes everything. For Israel, this wasn't just an attack. It was a warning. Iran can pull the trigger without hiding in the shadows. Now the question is, how ready is Israel for this new chapter? The enemy hasn't changed, but the game has. If Iran can launch attacks on its own, then any response must be just as direct. Let's now break down the weapon that quietly changed how the world views long-range attacks. This missile wasn't built to trick anyone, it was built to destroy. It's a medium-range ballistic missile using a rare type of liquid fuel, rarely used by other countries because it's tricky to store and launch. But Iran took the harder road to get stronger, more stable propulsion, especially when the missile enters the atmosphere. One of the scariest features of the Raysan is its ability to release warheads at 2 points, either before entering the atmosphere or just before hitting the target. This means it can follow a ballistic path and then launch a decoy or a real warhead to confuse air defense systems that are tracking the main body. With a lethal radius of 100 meters and an effective range of 200 meters, one explosion can easily cover 2 football fields. Design-wise, the missile is around 12 meters long with a diameter of 0.88 meters. Its silhouette is similar to Qiam or Akil missiles used by the Houthis, but with a slightly longer body. Its slim build is meant for one thing: to pierce the atmosphere faster and go farther. Its range is about 1,400 kilometers, enough to hit any spot in Israel from anywhere in Iran. But what makes it even scarier is how it's launched. From vehicles, fixed bases, and even underground bunkers. This gives Iran a huge advantage. It's incredibly hard to track and even harder to stop. It can't be intercepted, and it can show up from anywhere. According to the commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, this missile sometimes flies at supersonic speed. At that velocity, defense systems like Iron Dome or David's Sling have just seconds to respond. There's no room for error, and it's not just about speed. Raysan is smart too. It uses a locally developed precision navigation system. It's accurate enough to hit sensitive spots, command centers, communications hubs, and airstrips. Before it ever exploded in Israeli skies, Raysan first appeared at an Iranian military parade in 2022. But that parade wasn't just any parade. It was held to mark the anniversary of the start of the Iran-Iraq War, from 1980 to 1988, around the tomb of Imam Khomeini, founder of the Islamic Republic. Because clearly, from the scars of the past, a new force was born. Back then, many thought Raysan was just another piece of Iran's typical military posturing. Rows of metal were on display, but people doubted it would ever be used. Most assumed it would just rust away in some warehouse rather than be launched in battle. But time told a different story. In April 2024, the Raysan missile came out of hiding. For the first time, it was used extensively to strike key strategic targets across the Middle East, including military bases believed to be used by both Israel and the United States. This wasn't a drill, it wasn't a simulation, this was real combat, and in that moment, Raysan didn't just launch, it struck with deadly accuracy. What shocked people most was that it broke through a defense system that the enemy once bragged was impenetrable. Many thought Operation True Promise was just symbolic, a message, not a meaningful attack. But Iran had a much more precise plan. The response wasn't just quick, it was pinpoint. Leading the way was the Raysan missile, no longer just for military parades but now active in real warfare. This time, Iran didn't hide behind its proxies. The Raysan was launched directly from Iranian soil. No diplomatic cover, no intermediaries. It flew 1,400 kilometers through the sky, straight into the heart of enemy territory, carrying a message far deeper than just an explosion. The message? Iran is now speaking to its targets directly. Two highly sensitive Israeli sites, Hazlia and Saron, were the main targets. Hazlia, known as the headquarters of Mossad, was once considered a fortress. But that night it wasn't just shaken, it was paralyzed. Field reports show the damage partially collapsed, burning buildings, communication networks that went down for hours. In Saron, military logistics and data centers were also hit. It wasn't just infrastructure. The backbone of Israeli military operations was rattled. But perhaps the most chilling part wasn't the damage itself, it was the reality. The missile broke through Israel's legendary defenses. This wasn't just another skirmish. For the first time in 2 decades, Israel wasn't just hit, it was truly defeated. In the past, everyone thought if Iran ever attacked, it would be through someone else's hands. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, or militia groups in Syria. But Operation True Promise erased that assumption. Iran is no longer playing behind the scenes. They launched their own missiles with no support, no proxies, and the world saw it with their own eyes. This response wasn't just symbolic, it was a real weapon used on the battlefield. Now the question has changed. Can Israel survive as its systems, Iron Dome, Arrow, start to show their limits? Can they build a new shield in time, before the next wave of attacks? Or, is this the moment when the United States has to step in, not just as a partner, but as the final line of defense? One thing is crystal clear now, the skies over the Middle East have changed. The shadow of war, once faint, is now sharper than ever, slowly creeping from behind the Iranian desert. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow S News, check out our upcoming videos, and support us with a like, a comment, and a subscribe.